Hey everyone, welcome back to another build video. Today we are going to be working on a full build of what I'm calling Willow cabin. So this is going to be the full build of the build as well as the actual decor, so it's going to be a little bit longer. There is reason for that we'll get into a little bit later, but before we get too deep into the build, just a friendly reminder that if you haven't clicked that subscribe button, I would greatly appreciate it. I'm hoping to just continue to build this channel with every subscribe that we get. It really does just help me out. I hope to hopefully get my YouTube streaming stuff together soon, and yeah, I would really appreciate that. So that being said, this is a long video. Make sure that you do go ahead and grab a snack, a drink. Feel free to pause. Make sure you're taking care of yourself. Self-care is really important. This is more of a normal build process for me, which means my ADHD kind of takes over a little bit, honestly. So I have a tendency when I build to build in kind of phases. So I'll hit a little bit of a wall, maybe with the structure, and then I'll end up going and finding decor items. So that's what I'm doing here. Here, one of my biggest things with this build was I really wanted a beautiful bathtub that kind of featured this willow tree here. The whole build itself is actually based around the willow tree. This is a brand new server for me that we just started. So this is my first build. You'll see a couple times I may or may not use my inheritance to go and get resources that I haven't grinded yet, because I think I was about a level 12 when I started this build. So it's definitely the build came first. The build came first. The playing the game came a little bit later. But yeah, so this beautiful willow tree I just kind of ran into. I know I'd seen it before, but I'd never really built in this area before. I had gone to meet up with a bunch of my friends who were in a little nearby community, and I just wanted to build something close to them during phase 1. So I was, somewhat near and came across this willow tree. And as soon as I figured out that I could actually build in the river and build around the moss that the willow tree kind of grew around it, I was like, yes, this is my life. This is my build. So here we are, just kind of moving things around. Like I said, it's going to be a little bit scattered. I promise the next build video will be a little bit more organized. But we're kind of just going through moving what I had, because I'd had a 2x2 square. I just wanted to expand on it a little bit. My kind of idea behind this build is that I imagine at some point this was an old fishing shack that someone used, and then they, it stopped using it for that reason, and they wanted to turn it into a little getaway cabin. So here you can see me working with that bathtub. I kept this part in. I normally keep these parts out because, you want to see the builds. But this is me using all of my ciphers and energy links on unlocking the build recipes. Instead of actually, upgrading workbenches and unlocking things that you're supposed to do in a survival game, I have a tendency to unlock all the build items. So that's what we did there. And that happens a couple times. It is kind of funny how many times it does actually happen here. But that just kind of shows my process and my priorities, which are sometimes a little bit skewed, but it's fine. Also, I will say it is nice to finally have a toilet. I never actually got the, holy grail toilet blueprint, so I felt kind of a little bit like I cheated, but also it's a really nice toilet. It's a really pretty toilet. It came with that really beautiful bathtub that we placed down, which, by the way, that bathtub right now is placed the wrong way. So the way that bathtubs work now is there's a specific side that you're supposed to enter, and it actually just puts water in it for you instead of having it hooked up to a water source. That is a relatively new thing, but it's convenient. But when you don't realize it's placed the wrong way, it's a little annoying. So I do eventually go back and fix that, but I don't actually think I do it on this video. So here we are. I am, like I said, moving things around. You can see that some of the pillars get really angry. I love me a good pillar. I think that pillars are a really great way to add some detail. I am using some skinned pillars from the wood set. I think that the contrast that they provide is really nice. I was trying to do a little overhang, realized that the quarter roof was a little too long, so we end up going with a little flat overhang. I'm just kind of still sticking with the basic box, but adding little pieces here and there. And I have to say that water park is not mine. I wish it was mine. I wish that RNGesus loved me enough to give me anything good in loot crates. It does not. It does not at all. Unless I spend an obscene amount of money. There are people that have gone and gotten the beautiful Halloween set, and I can't. I can't get a build set. I can't get a skin set. It just doesn't happen. I do have some pretty cool items, but that's actually from a community member of mine who placed it down there. And I was like, oh, you know, this is kind of like a little bit of a different vibe, but I figured that we would kind of build around it. So we do kind of build like a whole little outdoor hang area that's based around that. And obviously you can see that the actual pathway there is based around it as well. So one thing I did know is that I wanted to have a bridge from the land to the house because, you know, I like to build things relatively realistic, and that was something that was really important to me. Here I am kind of trying to figure out a little way to do a roofing. I will say that the roofing is a bit of a pain, especially when you don't want to use a wall. I feel like the pillars should support a roof, and I don't understand why they don't, and it drives me crazy. So eventually we did put that one door wall on one side of that little bridge area there. And then here we are just kind of moving around the items that I'd already placed. Fun fact, normally with these shelves, if you flip them upside down, you actually have more like forgiveness in their placement. That wall was being really weird with the pillar, but we ended up moving it over here in the corner anyway. Like I said, we're going to do a lot of hopping back and forth between building, decorating, building, decorating. If you saw the whole raw video, there's also a lot of smelting, occasional running off to get ingredients that I didn't want to bring over with my inheritance, but I ended up spending most of my inheritance on this, which is, it happens a lot with me, I'm not gonna lie. So here I am. I was working on kind of fleshing out the walls for the bathroom area, and I realized that I wanted a little bit of vertical diversity, I guess. It was a little too flat for me, so we added a 2-story here. We don't do anything that goes upstairs. Again, this is a small home. It's maybe not a small home, but it's a small home for me, and I wanted to keep it small, but I really liked the idea of having a little bit more detail going vertical, because it just adds a little bit more interest to the eye. Also, apologies if I sound sick. My allergies are kind of kicking my butt right now. Here I am moving the bookshelf for the 72nd time. I will move it again. Most things will be moved multiple times. I think maybe except for the bathtub. It just happens. Oh, the other thing that I wanted to mention, in case you notice it in this build, there is currently a bug where you'll paint a wall and it'll just disappear. And you go to paint it and it'll be like, hey, that wall's already painted. You can't duplicate it. So you might notice me painting and repainting stuff during this build. It honestly was driving me a little bit bananas. But eventually we did get to the point where everything is painted, and I believe in the screenshots everything's painted, but actually probably should go back and recheck. So I am kind of playing around with the different textures and stuff that I have, the different wallpapers and floor prints, just to see what kind of vibe I wanted. Like I said, it's meant to be a slightly updated fishing cabin, essentially. But I still wanted to respect that willow tree. So at the end of the day, I wanted to make sure that I had a lot of really beautiful views of the trees. I wanted to make sure that I didn't cover up too much of the moss, and I wanted to make sure that the color palette kind of complemented it, if that makes sense. So here I am kind of putting windows in. I end up changing the skin of these windows. Oh, I think I did it just now. I really like, there's a windows and door set that I really, really like, and it has some really beautiful details. I believe we end up going with one of the doors from that set, but I needed something a little bit simpler. Some of the, I don't know, some of the details are just a little bit too much. And like I said, I wanted it to be detailed. I wanted it to be cozy, but I didn't want it to be too much. So we kind of find a little bit of a balance here. And there I am going back in with walls. I didn't want to do walls, but sometimes you gotta do walls when you don't want to do walls. And we've got our kitchen kind of fleshing out here a little bit. That little sink cabinet comes from one of the recent build sets that has really beautiful kitchen stuff. I love the color palettes, and I'm trying desperately to make the whole set fit. I will say this counter I have right now does not make it, But I think the end result is actually pretty cool. Here we go, moving the bookshelf again. I think it moves about 2 or 3 more times. It ends up in that general vicinity, but it still moves. It's just kind of how it goes. And I'm like, oh, well, I can make this wider, and then I'll add in a smaller door. That still changes. But I'm like, oh, this is kind of a cute little bar top. Technically, if we're talking realistically, it's not the best bar top in the world because there is that lip on the back. But that's one of those moments where I'm just going to let it slide. The other thing to keep in mind is that there are a lot of items that I actually use in this build that are items that I've carried over through seasons. So I don't know the technical term for them, but I call them soulbound. So like the items that no matter when you go over, they're just like your furniture items. So I highly recommend, as long as you don't have too many furniture pieces, that you actually keep some of those, because early game, it is so nice. Like while you don't have any resources, assuming you're not spending all of your inheritance on supplies like some of us, it's nice to have a little. It's like a little bit of a cheat code. It's a quick way to either have like a little shelf that has storage, or some pretty chairs or tables or whatever that you maybe haven't gotten the recipe for, or can't actually make them yet because you don't have the materials. Here I am changing the floor 72 times again. I'm really struggling. I liked the wood, but I couldn't decide on what I wanted to do, so I moved to something else. You'll sense this theme being very common. I decided to go with the kitchen cabinets, and this was bothering the heck out of me. I really like to do the open shelving with the kitchen cabinets, but I couldn't really get it to work properly. Also, ignore the fact that my lady is in her, we'll say, bathing suit. Don't worry about it. So these cabinets can actually be flipped upside down and put on the wall. So I was like, oh, I can do like a little built-out grill out here. That could be really cute. Here I am trying to use the blue cabinet again. Really, really, really trying to use this set. And sometimes it just, no matter how hard you try, it just doesn't even matter. Like the song, it just doesn't. So we eventually get rid of that. You can tell I was getting annoyed, so I moved back over to the bathroom, and we're back in the kitchen again. We had placed down a little grass floor in the bathroom, and that is eventually to use some of the new garden fairy lights that I really enjoy. Here I am fighting with this ceiling. I decided that I was determined to use this overhang light that comes from the current battle pass. The current battle pass is actually going to be done soon, but I haven't really used this light yet. And if you haven't seen my reviews of that battle pass, it is literally the best battle pass I've ever seen. Beyond worth the $9.99 for the build items in that set, and I highly recommend it. If you haven't had the opportunity to get it yet, that you definitely do. So we put a little overhang there. Then now we're back in the bathroom, and so what I wanted to do is I wanted to use that grass like flooring and kind of create like an indoor-outdoor feel. Again, we're trying to complement that willow tree, and at the end of this area over top of the bathtub right here is where the willow tree actually is. So there's a lot of working back and forth. I'm trying to like give privacy to the bathtub, but also, make sure that we're embracing the environment. I love the fact that that's like the moss on the water just stays there. Like, I thought that was one of the coolest things ever about this area and being able to build here. And I was very, very, very conscious of the fact that I couldn't get too close to the tree. I don't know if I can actually break this tree or if it's one that sits there no matter what, but I didn't want to test it. So here we are, just using these little brick slab things, concrete slab things that I gotten from one of the outdoor sets. It's the one that comes with the fire pit and a few other really great items, honestly. This is one of the little guys that comes from the Twitch drops that you can actually get from the, season shop. I think the season shop loot crates that you roll with Mitsuko marks. He's pretty cute, and I was like, he kind of goes with this vibe. Those walls have become unpainted so many times at this point that I start to lose my mind. But again, complementing the tree, we're adding some shrubbery everywhere. Vines are amazing. They're a really great way to add a little bit of color. They do cost a lot of resources, so I did end up getting a decent amount of shabby fabric. Here I am trying to fit a bookshelf. I love me a good bookshelf. I couldn't fit one in there. We do eventually get a bookshelf into the build, and it actually ends up in the bathroom area. But yeah, it is. And that wasn't painted again, and now it's magically painted again. Oh, the things that happen in this game. I feel I'm testing out the banana because, you know, why not? But I needed some banana therapy. Is that a thing? I feel like that's a thing. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Everything's fine. So here we are, just kind of taking a little bit of a break, doing the seaweed emote in case anybody walks by my house, and we're back to building. I forgot that you couldn't actually sit on something and build, which I think is kind of silly. But yeah. We ended up adding a window into that little area where there is the fish tank. I thought that was cool. This is another really big tip of mine. When you are building, make sure that your space is as you intend it to be seen, like at the end. So you can see me opening up those doors. Again, this isn't a PvP server. There's not any kind of concern of people coming in and like breaking anything. So I knew that I was going to want to have those doors open. So I went through and opened some of the doors and the windows just to make sure that as I was building, what I was placing was able to not clip. Like technically I could put stuff behind that door from the bathroom, but it's not ideal. It doesn't look good. So I was just like, nah, I'm not going to do that. But yeah, so now we are kind of going through looking at some of the different items I have around, and I'm like, this grill makes no sense. I love that grill print. I do wish we had better actual stove prints for indoors because the grill print is very much an outdoor facility skin, and it's beautiful. All of the like food and stuff on it looks amazing, but it just wasn't working. And then we have a llama paca. So I always have to add llama pacas in if I can. So we had to have a little llama paca at my bar. He's just kind of chilling, hanging out. I have no idea where that tentacle thingy came from, by the way. The one that's on my wall. It was just in my inventory, and I was like, this is funny. I'm going to use this. So that's why it's there. It's kind of weird, but I kind of love it anyway. Here I am kind of creating a little outdoor hang area. This will get moved and edited again because it's me, and I move and edit things a million times. But I was like, oh, I could put the shark in here. He looks really cute. And it just was meant to be kind of like when you go to a pool and there's these, you know, the chairs in the shallow end. It was meant to be like that. And since I'd had that film furniture, the like negative style furniture someone had gotten me, I was like, oh, I could use this. Even though realistically it probably wouldn't be very comfortable, but listen, don't worry about it. Here I am like, hey, this is too symmetrical, this is too linear. I need a little jut out here. I put the floor down to put the roofs down, and I was like, oh, can I delete the floor? And I could not delete the floor. So yes, I did just build that twice. Listen, we're not going to talk about it. And I moved away because I got annoyed again. Here I am fighting with some curtains. I really wanted to make the curtains go through the entire area, but the curtains have an odd like object. I don't even know what it's called. Just like you see, I can't get through. And I'm like, but it's a curtain. Why can't I get through? But I wanted them there for like a little bit of privacy, but it ended up not working. But with the door open, honestly, I didn't hate it. So again, those doors open were really important in the situation. Realistically, it would look kind of weird just to have the one curtain rod. It's like halfway through the thing, but with the door there, I feel like it worked pretty well. And here I am just kind of looking for more stuff, finding more stuff, placing it random places as per usual. That's a little flower that one of my friends dropped off on my bed, which I thought was really cute. Fun fact, if you do collect flowers just around the world, you can actually place them as objects. So it's a super cute way to like, I don't know, just put cute stuff in your friends' homes. If you don't really know what to do with your flowers, it's an option. So I thought that was really cute. So I kind of kept the flower around, just like I kept the water park. It's nice when friends drop off stuff. I really loved being able to use this little coat rack. It's from a battle pass that was the very first battle pass that I actually got. The very first thing I bought in this game. Before I loot crated, before I did anything like that. It was the one with the wicker set. And I don't use it a ton, but I ended up using the bed as well as that coat rack. And I really love the coat rack. Severely underrated. Then here we have an example of if a thing doesn't go down and you know that it should go down, move the other things, put the thing down, and then put the other thing down. So what I ended up doing is I had to remove that floor print, the floor concrete slabs. like, or move the sink, put the floor slabs like there, and then put the sink back. So sometimes if you want something to work, you just have to play around with it a little bit. And I'm about to start fighting with some more things here. I don't understand why some objects just have very large invisible radiuses. Like, in my mind, that rock should be able to place there. But a lot of items, especially when they're placed on an off angle, don't like it, which is a pain when you're a person who likes to build with clutter like me. So yeah, that rock didn't end up where I wanted it, but it still was okay. That print right there, that rose print, I don't normally use the prints. I normally like to actually use like pictures of me and my friends and pictures I take around the world. But that print is really beautiful. It comes from the bookcase set, and I actually really enjoy it. This part, we're going to ignore the fact that I've ever said anything about being realistic. These trees are floating. I don't know why I can place trees floating in the water. I don't know why this works. We're just going to act like you can't see that. We're going to act like that doesn't exist. And I just thought they looked really cool. So technically a bunch of them are not on ground, but they worked. So YOLO. I don't know. And here I am unlocking more stuff so I can build. I believe this is where we finally get the securement unit expansion. I don't want to talk about the fact that this is almost the end of phase 1, but listen, don't worry about it. It's fine. Every game's a building game, you know? But here I am adding some more detail to that little alcove area there. Just kind of doing a little run through, seeing how everything looks, how everything feels. I love that clutter piece. I specifically rolled that loot crate just to get that clutter piece. I couldn't make it work in this build. And you can see me, I'm trying so hard. It's another one of those tried so hard and it doesn't even matter moments, and I'm still really sad about it, but listen, don't worry about it, it's fine. Everything's fine, we're fine. I'm not sad at all. I'm a little sad still, but it's fine. So we do eventually get rid of it. It just kind of happens. Sometimes you have something planned and it just doesn't work that way. Here, I found another rock. Love this little side table. This side table actually came with the blue bathtub as well as the toilet that is in the next little area. That table is one of the best items of clutter, but I just want all the little pieces separately. I want little, like, diffuser to place around. I want it all. I want it all as separate places. The other part that I placed a little bit in the hallway has a really gorgeous gold like trash can or like laundry can. I'm like, I want that too. But here we are, just making it cozy. Got to put a little beer bottle next to your cozy bathtub. And yeah, we're just kind of finishing things up a little bit here. I was looking for a light here. It is the bedroom though, and I thought that first light that I had placed down, which again, I do love and does come from that bathroom set as well. It was just a little too harsh for that space, so we ended up going with a cozy light that I believe I got. I don't know where I got it from. Actually, if I'm being completely honest, I have no idea where it came from. So I'm not even gonna act like I do. I have no idea where that umbrella thing came from either. Some things are just, they just show up. Plant set, amazing. You will see me placing so many plants. So many plants. Plants are one of the best forms of clutter and they make me happy. That's another item that I really love that I just like randomly got from a loot crate. And I couldn't fit it. All right, this is where we go back again. Resources, you can see I'm slowly using all of my inheritance. And I want to put the kitties down and I'm like, okay, the spoon's gotta go. I was so happy to get that item, the little cat fountain. I love the cats. I love the vibes. It was part of a login reward. That was something that like they brought back a bunch of stuff, which I thought was awesome. So that's one of my favorite items to use. Technically free to play, but you had to log in to get it. I love having a llama pack of painting. This umbrella, I genuinely don't know how people use it. I have tried to use this umbrella in so many builds, it's not even funny. Yeah, I don't know. I can't ever make it work. But here we are, we're getting kind of close to the end. Oh my goodness, I'm so proud of you. If you've made it this far, you are a legend just sitting here listening to me yap. I wanted to, with this particular part, I just kind of wanted to make a little cozy, fairy chill area. I absolutely love that butterfly sculpture. It is ADHD person's dream to just sit there and stare and look at the fireflies. And I was like, I need a little spot here where I can do that. And it's kind of like a little welcoming area. So when you come up to my little area here, you have the chef's table and then the little bench and the little butterflies. And then I'm just kind of cleaning up. I don't know, I needed more clutter. So we add a box, we add the radio, I believe we add more flowers. Again, things that make the home look lived in are things that make me happy. And I absolutely love the plants from the plant set because there are a lot of really beautiful textures in that set. Love that light. No clue where it came from. Love that light though. Let's see. We are grabbing from our inventory now. So remember I was talking about those soulbound items, that some of them are going to be soulbound, which has that little like infinity sign on them. So like those sculptures and stuff are soulbound. Some of them are just furniture items that you carry over that you could technically give to people. Great way to have clutter. If you've played more than one season, chances are you'll end up with quite a few of those. And here we are trying to make the beautiful lady work in the water. And I was like, this doesn't make any sense. I don't know where she actually ends up. I don't know if she ends up in the build. But we did grab Manabussy, and I was like, Manabussy would look really great in the water. So again, we moved this for the 17th time. I think I moved it one more time before I was done with this house. I'm currently working on another house. Not doing a build video for that one, but I will do a tour. It is literally inside of a waterfall, like a multi-story waterfall, and I am losing my mind a little bit. But that's pretty much the end of the video. We're just gonna add a couple more cozy items and go into the screenshots. Thank you guys again so much for sitting through this. I really appreciate it. Make sure you check out the other videos that we have. Any likes, comments, or subscribes are appreciated, and see you in the next one.